There is one item in particular which you can take advantage of to deal a lot more damage in scaled content. In this video we're going to discuss what that item is, what alternatives you can use, and some upcoming gear pieces that they're introducing that will also be mitigating the effects of scaling. So first of all, what is this? Well, artifacts. The damage of artifacts is not scaled down. If I'm at like 90,000 item level, you can see roughly via the tooltip how much damage they're going to deal. They usually deal a bit more than what it says in the tooltip. For example, it'll say it'll deal like 48,000 damage, where in fact it will have a max hit of 90,000, with the damage over time being like 45,000. And you see that on the tooltip, the damage over time would be 24,000. So it's actually nearly double what it says on the tooltip. But with that aside, this damage is not scaled down. When you jump into this scaled content where we're setting our item level at like 25,000, we're losing an absolute ton of damage by doing that. So all of your other hits will be drastically reduced. So you're going from like 90,000 down to just like 20,000. You're losing nearly 5 times the amount of damage you would normally deal. So using these artifacts for damaging that content can be a bit of a bit of a cheat code to dealing a lot of damage. You may have seen people do it. For example, Bone Blade Barrage is the damage from the Dragonbone Blades. And you can see it's dealing like 20% or more of my damage in that scaled content, because we're still getting the same amount of damage hits as we would see when we are not scaled. Now this could be an oversight from the devs, but it's been like this forever. They may very well go back and adjust these, just be aware of that. But right now, the highest damage dealing artifact is the Dragonbone Blades. I've tested multiple others like the Envenomed, the Wyvern Knives. They deal about half as much damage as the Dragonbone Blades. And then the new upcoming artifact, which is actually pretty decent, and you might want to hold out to get that one, the Astral Seed Tendril. It deals pretty good damage. It would be a little bit less still than the Dragonbone Blades if it got fixed to last 12 seconds. Currently it only lasts 6 seconds, and if we look at some data, we can see it was dealing like 230,000 damage over 6 seconds. This is again on my character, with the Bone Blade Barrage dealing more than double that at like 540,000. So if the audio drain from the new upcoming artifact was lasting 12 seconds, you'd double this and you'd have like 460,000 damage, which would be decent. But if you look at the Wyvern Knives, they're about half as much as the Dragonbone Blades. Another really good thing with the Dragonbone Blades though as well is that when you obtain them, they're account wide and already mythic. There's no need to upgrade them. It's just they're pretty rare and expensive. Like if I have bound it once on my character, you can always claim this pack on all your other characters, and the pack gives you the neck and waist set, and it also gives you that artifact. Just again, very expensive these days as the source is very limited. To compare the different artifacts, I did a Master of the Hunt run with each of them, and then got the data on how much they were dealing. The Dragonbone Blades again was like over 20% of our overall damage, which is just kind of insane for one item. The audio drain of the new upcoming artifact was like 13%. However, it also has a heal benefit to it, which was totaling for like a third of the healing I needed during the run. Again, I'm doing this hunt solo. So that is also another very big benefit. If you're running without a healer, this can help save you on like stones of health or potions. But again, it does not match the damage. And then we tried with the Envenomed, and you got the Charlifax's aura there, along with the stories told, and it was totaling to about 12% of our damage. So they all fall short from the Dragonbone Blades, which seems to be just well above everything. And even in endgame content, the Dragonbone Blades is still currently the best and highest damage hitting artifact you can use for that raw damage output. Of course, the new artifact, which has just been released, the Crystal of Soul Flight, can be better in some situations. If you're in a coordinated group, this is what you want to be taking as a damage dealer. because you're increasing all your damage by 15% and additionally increasing the damage you deal by 10% against the target along with everybody else. So you're ending up with like a 25% damage increase against the target. That is really good to amplify all your other big hits you could use within that time frame, like your daily power, your mount power, and you'd ideally have saved your encounters for that burst window as well. And those are artifact calls. But in terms of scaled content, nothing is gonna beat those blades. You can go into your adventure zones where you're scaled as well, and you can use them and literally one-shot everything. People use these to cheese leveling, to get through leveling much easier, especially since these blades are count-wide. You can claim them on all your alternate characters. Use this and you one-shot like the bosses. You one-shot all the enemies. Versus just using your powers, because you're scaled, they'll deal a lot less damage. Even just by getting your stats high, you still won't be killing enemies quickly when your item level has been dropped massively. So I mentioned some new gear that they were coming out with. And yeah, it's kind of weird that they're doing this. This gear will give you a pretty big advantage in scaled content as well. It'll be quite a grind to get it, but once you do, you can get up to a 20% damage gain from just these arms. Pretty insane. Right now we're not scaled, so those arms give us 0. You can see them right here. The other classes get the same arms with the same bonus, just slightly different stats. But when we do actually get scaled, so let's say we jump into Master of the Hunt, where we get scaled down to what says the item level requirement is 15,000, but you'll see we've been scaled down to 24,000. What that means is that the difference between our maximum item level, which we have, and the scaling means this gear gives us 20%. So in this content, we could gain 20% extra damage against everything. Pretty massive. And it is really weird that they're adding this. Basically, anti-scaling gear. Okay, the effect won't be as big as, let's say, being unscaled, but the effect is still there. There is also boots, where you can take 20% less damage when you're scaled as well. This again depends on the content and the difference between your maximum item level when you're unscaled and the item level you're scaled down to. So if the difference isn't so big, you could only gain like 10% from these and 5% or less. If you're already only at 24,000 item level, then you'll gain no benefit from these pieces of gear. So it gives a slight incentive to improve your item level. But regardless, you always want to focus on stats first before item level. Make sure you're getting yourself some gear that gives you a big boost in these main offensive stats if you're trying to get damage. Healer has their own set of stats and so does a tank. These stats are more important than this big item level number. Now, if you are seeking to get these Dragonbone blades, which they are great and they were really good to get at the time when they were released because they were around 2 million and that was totally worth it. But these days they're a lot more expensive, and the only real way to obtain them is either through the Dragon Cult lockbox, which drops the pack. The problem is this lockbox is very unappealing to open. It does not have great drops there. It misses the trade bars, which is a lot of value that you'll obtain from the newer lockboxes. And otherwise, there is a pack which you can obtain through the Magnificent Resurgent lockbox, which does allow you to choose the Dragonbone blades. You can see them in the pack just here. It's just in order to get this pack, it's quite expensive and you have to open exactly 250 of these boxes to obtain that. There's no chance to obtain it earlier. And in most cases, you'll want to choose other things from this pack. They have recently added the Blaspheme Assassin, Ebon Riding Lizard, Umber Hulk, and I believe Flump. It's also got the Myconid Bullet here with the Mystic Aura, but most notably, it's got the Golden Companions in here, which is usually the highest value. So you'll generally only get the pack for these. And ultimately, I don't recommend opening this lockbox. It already costs so much to obtain this because you can only get it via the Zen market. When you buy keys, you can get these boxes on the side. It's just people will then sell them on the auction house and you'd have to spend a lot of Xenon keys to get enough of those boxes. Again, you need 250, exactly 250 opened in order to get that pack. No chance you can obtain it earlier. Just be aware of your artifacts and the fact that they're not actually getting scaled, so they can be, yeah, sort of abused for a lot of damage. I've ran into players who used it and I wasn't aware, and I was like, how are they out damaging me by so much? I'm running on my budget build, and then I realized they've got these slotted and they're dealing like 30% of their damage. But with that said, a special thank you to all these channel members for their added support, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.